Hello, everybody. That's right. Me and the cheetah just came back from across the pond. We flew back across the pond, and boy, are our arms tired. Yeah, the cheetah sitting right here, cheetah. Um, so welcome to Eight Questions with the evening edition. We are here interviewing. Well, we'll be interviewing Dani Inks in about 15 minutes or so. We're super glad you guys are here with us. Um, I'm really glad I get to talk to Dani Inks after years of hoping to do so. She is one of the most bubbliest personalities I've seen. I actually saw my very first live stream I ever saw on YouTube was that was when Dani Inks was part of the Scream Queen stream that was hosted by Heather Dorff and Jessica Cameron, and Dani joined them, and so they would all sit in a hot tub and just kick it and just talk about Hollywood. They would tell their best stories, their meeting famous people, weird encounters. It was a lot of fun. Hi, Amanda. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Um, so I've actually I had never really talked to Dani directly that much. I said hi on the chat or whatever, but I know who she was. And I just always felt like, once I got this show up and running, I started thinking, who do I want to talk to? And I said, I would love to talk to Dani Inks because, um, because she seems like a really fun person to talk to. Like it's really upbeat, real positive, uh, you know, chasing her dream, having fun. That's the thing, having fun. Um, as someone has mentioned many times before, she is everybody's favorite ginger. I actually thought she should have trademarked that. It's everybody's favorite ginger, and then her name, um, because I thought it was really cute. So, but she's an actress. She works in Hollywood. She's an actress. She hangs she hangs with a lot of fun people. They post pictures on their social media or whatnot. She also, I believe, she is a bartender. I'm not sure if she's a bartender at a club or at a restaurant, but we'll catch up with her about that. And see how she likes living in Los Angeles and see how the town is coming back after COVID. I do know that there's still, California being what it is. It's a really interesting place to live at, right? I mean, there's all sorts of misadventures going on. But we're going to talk to Dani and see what it's been like the last 3 or 4 years, um, and how it's affected her and her career and her friends and whatnot, and whatever else we can get ourselves in trouble with and asking. Um, who knows? Uh, want to thank you guys all earlier for watching our interview with Tom Jolef. He was on earlier today and had a sensational show with him. Really interesting show. He answered a lot of good questions too. I gotta admit, I sort of put the spikes to him a little bit, um, but I knew he could handle it because he's a professional, and but he gives some really honest answers, and I really appreciate that from Tom. And uh, if you haven't seen it yet, the interview will be up. I'll be finishing it up tonight. You can go over and check it out. It's an interesting one. Uh, hey Hobbs, hey Jaden. That's right. We need to see a Hobbs Horror Amanda collaboration. That's what we need to see. We need like a two on the town in Dayton, or three on the town in Dayton, or four on the what is it? Four on the town in Dayton. That's it. Um, so just let you guys reminder too that we do have next week. We do have a creators week coming up here on the channel. I'm talking to three fellow YouTubers. We'll be talking to Darian Glover. on Tuesday. He hosts Magnificent Germany with Darian. And then on Wednesday, we get Greg Harris back. Um, him and his wife Kelly are van lifers from Arizona, and it's really going to be interesting talking to him now that the inflation has gone crazy and gas prices are stupid. We'll see if they have any buyer's remorse in going out on the road, living on the road. If they've rethought their plans, which would be a really it's an interesting question. They're building a box van to live out of, and they're gonna be going on the nomad life, van life. But that was before the massive gas prices and the war in Ukraine hit, right? So now here they are. They made that commitment, and we'll see what happens with that. We're going to ask them some tough questions about that. Is van life still a feasible lifestyle? And with more and more states actually putting in laws to make it more and more difficult for van lifers to even park their rigs anywhere within city limits, um, what's the future for van lifers? So we'll be talking to Greg Harris about that. That will be next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock next Wednesday. And next Thursday, a week from tomorrow on the 21st, we will be talking to Betty J. Gathers will be here with us. And I have to admit that I watched her interview with Come Hither with Heather, and I had to go back to the books to think about some of the questions I was going to be asking her, because Heather asked her some great questions, and I don't want to repeat those questions here. So I'm going to come up with some new ones, yep. So Betty will be here a week from tomorrow. There's Casey flying on some coyotes. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. That might be acting as a barrier to keep Tiffany out. I don't know. Uh, I could be wrong. Hello, buds. How are you guys? Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us this afternoon. Earlier today, hanging out and watching our show with Tom. Oh, those are. Is that what they are? I thought those are coyotes. Oh, hold on. I thought you were flashing me. I always are this. Oh, they're catnip boxes. You know what? They actually sort of look like the coyote, though, from where I'm at. I have. Oh yeah. Well, he made an appearance earlier. In the earlier show, he did make an appearance, and he's still hanging out with me. So that's what's been going on. We got, of course, our show with Crystal Lowell. Will be here on the 28th of July. That will be an interesting show. We'll be talking to Crystal about both things. You know, she can. Speaking of people walking in two different worlds, Crystal is a very well-known screen queen. Has a very great body of work, working in horror. And now she is actually working for Hallmark now, creating family fare movies, and occasionally dipping out into the Lifetime movie, which we'll be talking to her about. Um, yeah, I like to get that movie that she did for Lifetime. Uh, Something called The Crazy Wedding Planner or something. Uh, and then after that, I got one more show on the 29th of July, and then I am taking a month off. I am taking a month off. The show will go on hiatus for a month, uh, and I will be here. I'll be on here on Sundays, and I'll be putting my To Be Tuesdays up and some maybe the library pulls. But as far as live streaming goes, I am taking the month off. I'm not going to be. I don't know. Me and the Cheeto, we're going to do something. We're going to have fun doing something or another. So that's the plan anyway. That's the plan. So and let's see what else has been happening today in the world of anything. I don't know. Oh, I did see somebody was actually complaining about the Scream 6 leak, or Scream 6 leaks are getting out of control. That's what they called it. They called it out of control. And I'm going like, you guys feed into that. You guys create all those leaks. You guys report on all those leaks. Why are you complaining about it now? It's like, yeah, I don't get it. Um, I think I think a week from Friday, the new Jordan Peele movie comes out, which is Nope. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the first I heard about it. The first I heard about it too. Of course, we also have other dates we could talk about too. We have tomorrow night. As soon as we get done with interviewing Gory B Movie, who will be here at 9 p.m. tomorrow. We will all be dashing over to Hobbs Horror as the midnight hour kicks off their deep dive into Nightmare on Elm Street, which will be a lot of fun. I guess Hobbs has mentioned that they're going to be doing pulling movies out of a hat, so they're not going to do it in order. They're going to go ahead and they're going to go ahead and pull the movies out of a hat. So you could be getting number one, you could be getting number four, you could be getting number seven. Who knows what you're going to be picking? And then they'll be watching it and discussing it. So I do think they will lead off tomorrow with the first one, and then I think after that they'll have to draw a hat. They will draw a movie title from the hat, and then next week that's the movie they'll cover. That's an interesting way of doing a deep dive. Uh, Thank you so much, Betty. I appreciate it so much. Um, yeah, so that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. That'll be tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on Hobbs Horror Channel. Um, this Saturday, me and Al Licard, we are traveling to the House of Horrors to hang out with Boom and Steven and talk all things Mark Polonia. Then Sunday night, we will be back on Al's channel as we welcome Boom and Steven to our show to talk about all things Polonia. And then we encourage you all to go to Tubi and watch some Mark Polonia movies and throw up a review next week. I do believe next Tuesday, the 19th, is the official release date for Amityville in Space. Now, I've seen people have gotten a few advanced screeners or what have you, but I don't think the movie itself is coming out until the 19th. And from what I understand, it is going to get a theatrical release. So that's good. I know that it got a lot of early press in the summer. I had hoped to see a little bit more, and looks like that got answered with a positive because they will be doing a theatrical release of Amityville in Space. Um, I did talk to Steven, who has seen the movie. He did see it, and he says that it's pretty fun. I mean, it's he says it'll surprise you. Hey Pete, how are you? Yes, we're back at it. How are you, James? Glad you are back. Glad you are back. So that's awesome. Those who can share us out, thank you so much for doing so. Our guests will be here momentarily. We're interviewing Dani Inks today. Hold on one second. All right. Okay. So StreamYard is being a little bit tough. right now. You know what's really funny? I'll tell you what's really funny is when I do the interviews from Los Angeles. You would think of all the places, the last places you would have glitches for doing a live stream would be anybody from California, right? But yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we have all sorts of glitches. We have some sort of glitches whenever we try go to California. Danny is I'm talking to Danny right now. She's having a wee bit of trouble with StreamYard. That's not surprising. Um, so I just told her to go ahead and open it via Chrome. That's the best way to open up a StreamYard in case you guys ever have guests that have trouble getting on. Um, okay. Let's see. I don't know. Sometimes that happens, man. Right? She was on the phone. She's on the phone right now. So I think what's gonna happen. I just told her to open it via Chrome. It's funny. It's like whenever I use the phone to do StreamYard, I don't have to go through Chrome. But if I'm a guest on a stream, I do have to open it versus Chrome. So that's really strange, right? So right now, I just went up. I just typed in StreamYard and went straight up. But anytime I go on somebody else's stream, I have to go through Chrome in order to come on. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to meet her. I'm tickled. I am totally tickled here. All right. I might need to back out and give her a ring. I'm not sure if she needs it. Okay. Okay, let me call. All right, hold on, folks. Hold on. Let's see. Uh, let me back out here real quick and see if I can help her get on. I'll be right back. Let's see if I can do this without that. Where's the pen? Okay, and we're back. We'll see if this works. Resent her a. I'm back. Woo. I had to resend her. Yep, there she is. Got her. Ta-da!
Yes.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Everybody. I have to say this. I've been practicing this for weeks. Everybody, put your hands together for everybody's favorite ginger, Dani Inks.
I don't know about everybody's favorite, but I'm somebody's favorite somewhere.
Oh my God! You know what? I said before the pre-show. I said she should have trademarked that. You should have trademarked that.
Oh, everyone's favorite ginger.
Yeah, you should have just you should have said, you know what? Thanks, Jess. I'll be right back. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Then dash on over and trademark that because
That Jess definitely should have trademarked that for me because she came up with it.
he did. That's what I'm saying. But see, that's what happens. You can go there and say, yeah, let me just step over here for a drink, and then you dash over there and say, I have an idea. I want to trademark everybody's favorite ginger.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Hi. Sorry I'm late. I couldn't figure shit out.
No, you know what though? That happens. Everybody in our chat could tell you this. We
Okay.
have experienced. We all have experienced technical problems
Okay.
at one time or another. So yeah, believe me, there's somebody I'll tell you about after we get done. I'll tell you about that was the worst experience I've had.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, and that person, Yeah, I would probably use the adjective that you used on yourself earlier,
Oh,
which
got it.
doesn't fit. Yeah. Um. So I'm so glad you're here. I'm so
I
glad
have
you're
my little
here.
dog. I'm sorry. She's very needy.
Yes. Now that now, yeah, you've had her for quite a while now, right? I
Oh
do
no,
believe.
I've had her for a year and a half. I had a Yorkie before her who
Okay.
passed away. I got her. I've had her about a year and a half now. She's so cute. She's
Yeah.
very needy. She always wants to be on me, especially if I'm on the phone or my attention is going anywhere but her. She's like, Mom, hey, what's up?
Do you think that she's part cat?
She might be because she's pretty small, but also she likes to do cat like things. Like she likes to be on your shoulder, like
Right.
almost like a parrot. Like, and she crawls on things, and she just has no regard for anybody else's like personal space. She just walks on you.
Yeah, it's just like a cat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, very cat like. Mm-hmm.
Very cat-like. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, how was your day today?
It was
Before.
good. I really didn't do anything today. I did. I did nothing. I straightened up a little bit around the house. Today's my day off, so I was like, I have a whole day. What do? I'm going to rest. I watched. Oh, I watched the new Bob's Burgers movie. That's what I did today.
Okay. You don't have very many rest days, do you? You are always on the go. You are
Yeah.
always doing something.
Yeah, I'm always doing something, and yeah, I don't get a lot of rest days, but when I do, I rest. I sleep.
They're pretty precious to you, right?
Yeah, I try, but I always end up doing something. It's always somebody's birthday, or I have a show, or I have this, or I have that. And it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed. I was watching because I told folks like you were the scream stream. That was actually the first. Yeah, say that 10 times, right? I
Yeah,
can't even
that's
say it
why
once.
she did it.
Um, you were the first live stream I ever saw. That was
Really?
the first. That was the first live stream I ever saw on YouTube when you
Oh
guys were doing
my
that.
god! No wonder you wanted me on your show. I was like, why is he asking me to be on his show? I'm not that interesting. I'm really not.
Oh no, that's exactly. I just totally disagree. Totally disagree. No, I mean, no. It's like as soon as she started, as soon as they had you come on, and then because I think Heather left, right? She moved away, and then it
Yeah,
was
she actually got really, really busy with her day job. She has a whole career, and she kind of got a. It was kind of like okay, she had to kind of choose which.
right.
She just got too busy for it.
And then you came on as a co-hostess, and then you guys were just you guys were chopping it up there for a while,
Yeah,
and
well,
it was a
yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah, it was always Jess and Heather, and then I was kind of like the fun little add-on because
Right.
I was like the weirdo. Like you get like Kermit and Fozzie, and then all of a sudden Gonzo comes along and just weirds it all up. Like
You ever notice though? Everybody always talks about Gonzo and doesn't talk about anybody else. I mean, that's true.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it was. I think I kind of evened them out a little bit because they had prank wars with each other and they would really get into it. So like
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah.
there to kind of
You
melt.
you were you were just sort of there to sit there and make sure that keeping the peace,
Yeah.
keeping everything. Yeah. Did they ever get you? Did they ever prank you?
No, I did help Jess prank Heather once, and it did not go over well. Heather was very very upset. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was a funny prank, but it went a little too far. But it's Jess; she always goes too far.
uh,
Jess knows
yeah,
no other way to be.
right, right. Um, so let's talk a little bit about you because this is what it's all about. It's about you. Um, because I noticed that I noticed the one thing I noticed is that you're even through your Instagram and your socials and whatnot, it's not so much that you're always out and about. You're always in the demand for out and
Well,
about. People call you
yeah.
to I worked in nightclubs for 10 years, and there's a like a handful of people that very much like yourself, when a club needed a crowd, when they needed a presence, they would call those people up and say, hey, you want to come on down, bring about 20 of your friends, we'll clump you in and you can drink for free for for a couple hours, whatnot. And sure enough, next thing you know, here comes the band leader coming down the road with 20 or 30 heads.
Yeah.
Club owners love that. They
Yeah.
love it. I mean, because
Doing that for a while. I do that for my friends for their shows because I'm friends with a lot of musicians because I'm a singer. But I'm friends with a lot of musicians. So like they'll be like, Dani, bring some people to our show. So I have friends in a band that play every Monday at the Whiskey. And there was a night it was kind of like a slow time of year. It was August. Everybody's kind of on vacation and such. So they were like, hey, we have some people we want to impress. Will you bring in some people? I said, well, it's my birthday. I'll just have my birthday party there. And so I brought in about 100 people.
yes.
Yeah, I had about
I,
100 people on the guest list.
yeah. I mean, I love that. I mean, I mean, it's got to be hard to say no sometimes because everybody's calling. How,
Yeah.
how many invites a week do you think that you get?
Oh gosh, there's always something going on. It depends on the time of year, but every day there's something. There's always something to do. I mean, I live in LA. I know a lot of people. There's always something to do, and number one, I'm really bad at saying no. Like I'm not real great at saying no. I'm always like, have you seen the movie The Yes Man with Jim
Yeah,
Carrey? That's
yeah.
me. Like, only I don't do it begrudgingly. I actually say yes. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Woo, party. And then I'm like, oh shit, what did I say yes to?
Right, right. That's got to be now. Did you hit L? Are you originally from? Are you an LA girl
Oh,
originally?
oh God, no, no. I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania, just south of Pittsburgh. It's called Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Small
You
town.
are a Steelers fan, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Go Steelers.
That's right.
Steelers
Uh,
fan too?
yes, very much so.
Go Steelers. I have my
Very,
favorite towel here somewhere.
yeah, very, very, very much so. That'll make our good friend Hobbs Horror in the chat. That'll make him very happy since he's
Yes,
since,
I love
since he's a Bengals fan. Yeah, well, that didn't work out too well for me last year because I ended up eating cat food because I lost a bet to him.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you had to
yeah.
eat cat food? Ooh,
I
weird
had to
bet.
eat cat. I had to eat cat food because we bet on the game, and whoever lost, he had a dog. So if I would have won, he would have had to eat his dog food, and if I had lost, I had to eat the cat food. So I
Oh,
lost. Yeah.
what? Wait, was it dry cat food or canned cat?
No, it was wet. It was wet cat food.
Oh, that's even grosser. That is so gross. Yeah, like
No, we
it's
did.
like
No,
pretend it's like something like a snack that's like gross if it's the hard food, but cat food. Bleh.
no, we did do it there. We did do it there. Our friend Jennifer, our sassy friend Jennifer, her and I did that too. We ate dog treats and cat treats, and we're on another show and we did that as a challenge.
Just as
And
a dare, just to do it.
yeah, it was just a challenge. Like what can we eat that's weird? And so yeah, so she ate her dog snacks and I had cat snacks. So
Oh, yucky.
yeah, the cap.
Like,
Of course, now I can't get him to come back and do the same bet this year. He wimped out on me. He's going, oh, I don't think I could do that. I'm like, no confidence in the team, huh? Just one shot wonder, huh? Just one shot wonder. You know that you got lucky, so it's like you're not going to do this again. No, I don't want to do that. Oh,
that's
right,
funny.
Hob? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so Pennsylvania. So what was your life like in Pennsylvania? Did you have your whole family there with you? Did you go
Um,
to school there?
so I grew up in Pennsylvania, and my parents, you know, my mom was a singer, and she was very into church, and she was very religious. So I started singing like gospel and music in church. And my dad was a truck driver and a biker, so he ended up owning his own trucking company. When I got a little bit like a teenager, I think. Whenever like I was out of school, he ended up starting his own business, and he had his own business, but he was a biker on the weekends and hung out with his buddies and such. So I was not a normal kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was not a normal kid. I was that weirdo that liked musical theater. It was a small town. Like we called it Pennsyltucky. It was like,
I would have called it Pencil, Ohio myself, but that's just me. Yeah.
but it was very like John Deere hats and country music, and everywhere you went there was country music. And I mean, I love country music, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not my music, but I appreciate it as an art form. But
what is your music? Are you more metal or more pop or gospel?
So I started singing in church, and then in high school I got into musical theater, which is really funny because Jess and I became friends, and Jess doesn't like musical theater like at all. She doesn't get it. Like, she just like,
really,
yeah, like it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everybody. A lot of people don't like it. And I'm, whatever. You don't have to like this.
I just thought as as an actor, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. If you get a chance to do it, you're gonna do it, right? If you have a voice for it.
She got into acting a little later in a different way. So she came from acting from over here, and I came from acting from over here. So it's really interesting that we became friends. And like, she is so supportive because I've done a lot of shows since I've met her, and she, hell or high water, she's at almost there was one show she missed because she was filming and she just couldn't make it. But every single show she's there, right in the front, usually in the front row. But she's there at almost every one of my shows. And sometimes a couple of the shows she's come to multiple times, even though she's not really a musical theater fan. She says, I'm not a musical theater fan, I'm a Dani Inks fan. So she always comes to my shows, which is amazing. And she's so supportive of a friend. I'm like, it's not even your thing. But speaking of Jessica, she was just calling me on the phone. But,
is that her calling you?
Yeah, she was calling me.
You can tell that you were talking about her love of musical theater.
Yeah, she's probably calling me like, don't tell people I don't like theater.
Maybe she's watching this, so we can talk. We can talk. Yes, she might be.
I love you. I'm sorry if I say
so tell us about Jessica's favorite musical.
Yeah, right. But she's always really been supportive and always gone to all the shows that I've been in, and which is really nice because I've gone to all of her premieres that I can go to. Even though, believe it or not, I have a hard time watching horror films.
No, really?
Yeah, I've said this on her show, like that I get scared. I get scared really easily, and it freaks me out. Like, I'm like, ah! But I've been in horror films, like I've watched so many of them. My friends drugged me to a screening of a Serbian film.
Oh, they did not. Did they really?
Yeah, Dani had real drunk for that one, let me tell you.
Did you say your friends drug you, or did you say your ex-friends drug you?
No, my friends. Like, one of which was Jess and Heather, and a couple other my really hardcore horror fans. Like, my friend Maria was like, I'm gonna, what did she tell me? I'm going to chain you to the seat so you can't leave. That's what my friend Maria told me. And yeah, so it was fun. And it's not really, I have a hard time watching horror, which is a lot of times why I don't like to watch myself anyway, to be honest. So I don't watch most of the things that I'm in. But yeah, I don't really watch horror, and Jess doesn't watch theater. So
what a cool bunch of friends. Here, we're gonna teach you. We're gonna take you. We know you don't like horror too much, so we're gonna take you something a little bit PG-13, Blue Mouse.
Yeah, it was
all right. It's not a horror. It's a foreign film.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I ended up walking out because it was too much for me. It's beautifully shot and beautifully directed, and I mean, it's really a wonderful film, but it was just too much for me. So whenever I remember walking out of the theater, and the director was actually at the screening, and he explained to me that it wasn't for shock value, and it was a commentary on his country and all that stuff, and that helped a little bit.
A little bit.
I still have never finished watching that film.
No, I don't blame you. I have never watched it.
Yeah.
I've never watched it either. I would have took you to see something a little bit more sedate, like the Human Centipede. That would have been a lot more.
Yeah, right. I've never seen that. I've never seen Human Centipede.
Really? But
No, God.
it's not nearly as bad as a Serbian film. It's sort of like it's about a group of people that are really closely knit.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I think I'm gonna pass on that one, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they all take shit for each other, and share meals together.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, that's surprising. I would have never thought that. But then again, I guess when you were younger, at home, that's probably you probably didn't watch a lot of horror when you were growing up,
Well,
right?
the
'Cause
funny thing is, I did when I was a little kid. I loved it. The Friday the 13th and the Nightmare Before, or yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas. I watched that too. Nightmare on Elm Street, and all of those. But I kind of grew out of it somewhere along the line, and it didn't scare me as a kid, but it scares me now. Is that weird? Like, I guess
no,
I
you know
guess
what?
horror's gotten a little bit more intense than Friday the 13th.
It's just you don't really hear. I think I'm a little envious. I think I speak for probably some of the people in the chat too. A lot of people in our chat, they're all horror fans. And the thing is, though, we watch so much that we get jaded. It takes a lot to move, a horror fan. It's like, you know, I feel fortunate that I'm still able to feel like I can get disturbed, I can get spooked, or whatnot. I can even get emotional with the right movie.
Oh
And I
yeah.
still feel that way, and I think it's sort of sad though if you watch that much horror, it's all you watch. See, you can't just watch all horror. You got to watch a whole variety of things so you don't become so desensitized that
Yeah.
watching somebody watch a Serbian film and not to have any reaction to it. It's just
Well,
it's just something a
like
little
you
bit.
have a reaction to it. Most people do have some sort of reaction to it. It's just like it's more excitement than weirded out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little
Why my friends
disturbing if you think
watch it,
about it.
like it's so cool. It's like, oh, and they like obviously feeling all these things about it. But I
Yeah.
just would rather not. Like I did. I lasted longer than I thought I would in a Serbian film. I'm not gonna lie.
What did they do? Did they have a bet to see how long it would take for you would run out the theater?
No, I don't know. Maybe they did on the side that I didn't know. I think they should have. They should have.
They should have, and they should have kicked you
No,
down like 25% of the winnings.
yeah, they should have had a pool going because I actually left. Like I stayed pretty long, and I remember walking out, and my friend who was putting on the screening, um, Steve, and he was like, he knew I wasn't going to last very long, but I lasted longer than he thought, and I was like, nope, 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 I'm done, I can't do it, and I walk out of the theater. Like I didn't say anything until after I left the theater, but once I left the movie theater, I was like, oh, nope, 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 and he's like, surgeon, and I was like, oh, hello. And so I met him for a moment, and he was very, very nice, and he was very gracious that I walked out of his movie.
Well, I think he's he knows he's seen it before. He's seen a lot worse than that. And so he's this used to it. I mean, some directors, I mean, who directed a movie like that, they know what comes with the territory, right?
Yeah.
They can't sit there and act all shocked when people get up and walk out of the theater during a Serbian film. It's like,
Well, he was
dude,
very gracious about it, and I made it
right.
clear. I was like, listen, I'm not normally a horror fan, like but I stuck it out there real as long as I could. I really did.
That's right. Let's see,
There's a couple of stuff too.
our buddy in Ohio, the guy I told you about, he says Human Centipede has a lot of residue value and art. Everybody should see the Pede once. I actually agree with that. That movie is actually it's disturbing as hell. But let's put it this way: when I watched it for the first time and only time, after I watched that movie, I started thinking about Silence of the Lambs, and I'm going like, that's watching Silence of the Lambs is sort of like watching a cartoon now because that doctor in the Human Centipede, He would make Hannibal Lecter piss his pants.
Yeah. No,
Because
for
that
sure.
guy, oof,
I think
very, very disturbing movie, but
well,
good.
I think the thing about horror films now is they have to keep one upping everything now. You know what I mean? Like everything is like bam, 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 because back in the day, if you think about it, like The Exorcist was like the most disturbing film of all time in the 70s. And not that it's not disturbing to today, but I've met like younger horror fans that are like, it's not that scary. And like it's just more and more like there's never enough gore and blood and like jump scares and creepy gross things, and it's
Oh,
like some of it is for shock value, I think.
um, the Exorcist even today holds its power. It still does.
I
Texas Chan-
it's a
Texas
beautiful.
Chainsaw Massacre holds its power. It's those movies are still getting your head.
Well, the first time I saw The Exorcist, I'd never seen it. My mom had banned it in my home.
Right.
Like she was like, "Nope, you are not watching this. Nobody's watching this. This is scary." And it was like a religious scary too.
Sure.
Mom was like not having that. So I didn't actually watch it until I moved to LA. I've been in LA for almost 10 years now. Actually, 10 years in a couple of days. It'll be exactly 10 years.
Okay.
And so I had been here like a year, maybe 2 years, maybe two. And I met, and I'd actually met Linda before, but I met Linda and uh, William Friedkin. I met him right before I met them like briefly, like super like, hi, right before the screening. And then I watched the film for the first time as an adult in a movie theater. So it was actually a really good experience. I never had to watch it at home. So
Did you get scared?
I did, but I didn't
Yeah.
walk out though. I didn't walk out. I was like, I'm going to be strong. Yeah.
Uh,
And I didn't have any cocktails before. Maybe I did have a cocktail, but
yeah, take a little edge off it. I don't blame you. I wouldn't blame anybody to
yeah,
take a cocktail before watching a movie like The Exorcist. That movie is it's still just powerful. Um,
it is. It's like, and the performances are so fantastic, and it's very dramatic as well as being a horror film. So,
Now, what if you don't mind me asking, what church were you a member of back home?
oh, it was Free Methodist, so I'm Methodist.
Okay,
My mom
and
was. She was really involved in the church. She could play piano, she could play the organ, she could play the guitar, she sang, and she did all that stuff.
so did you learn how to sing from your mother, or was that just naturally did it?
Well,
Okay,
it was a natural kind of thing, but my mom expected it. My mom could play, so her main instrument was guitar, like acoustic guitar, and my brother can play guitar, but he can't sing, and I could sing, but I can't play guitar.
okay, okay.
Yeah, my
Um,
mom tried to teach me how to play piano, and she lost her patience because I was a little ADHD as a kid. It's just like, oh,
guitar is hard to pick up. I mean, I've seen people, I still see people out there still plucking away and go like, "Oh yeah, you just started practicing," and they'll look at you like, "No, I've been doing this for 5, 6 years."
yeah.
Oh, it sounds good to me.
Well, you have to be really ambidextrous because you have to be able to use both hands, right? So like this hand, and it's like the pat your head and rub your tummy situation where
Right, right.
once, but they're different things. That's complicated.
Um,
Not
uh,
that.
you know what? Oh, this is an awesome question. I'm gonna ask right now. I'm gonna ask that question right now. We got someone who wants to get an autograph. That's
Oh,
awesome. I've never had anybody ask me that question. Why am I
okay.
not surprised it's you? Um, uh, I'm not really surprised actually. So yeah, well, you know what? I'll get that information from you. I'm sure you have a PO box, and I'll get that from you, and then or we'll connect you guys together.
Okay.
Um,
I'm really
yeah,
bad
that's
at
that's
that
awesome.
because, like in LA, the post offices are like really terrible, and I have to wait in line, and I'm really bad at that. So yeah,
Yeah, okay, but you don't mind doing it, right?
no, I don't mind doing it. I just it's
That's
I'm really,
he's a baseball card collector, and you know how they go, and they just like to they just like to collect. They're like us with collecting movies or whatnot. And yeah, that'll be awesome. That's cool. That's the first time. That's the first time I've ever seen that in the chat.
I have a couple of people who've been waiting on autographs. And like, I think it's funny to me because like why do you want my signature? That's weird. But to me, it's weird. Like, I don't think I'm anybody.
Well, you've done, but you're like I said before, you're an actress, you're a singer, and a lot of people, this is a chance to see somebody like, like in theater. If they come out and watch you sing at a theater, to them, you're a star because you're on the stage. To yourself, you see yourself as just a working actress. But to the public, they see when they're doing what they want to do or wish to do, and they look at you and they see you as a star. So that's the reason why they come up there and say, can you sign this? Because I saw that. I've seen plenty of punk rock bands, just local bands, and they'll be playing, and some kid will come up there and say, "Hey, can you sign my CD or my 7-inch record or whatnot?" It's it's like they're not signed or anything, but to that kid watching it, to the young adult watching it, you're a star. So I think it's fun.
I think it's because I don't ever watch my films. I rarely watch my films. I'm not gonna say never. I have seen a few of them, but I don't like watching myself.
Well, you know what though? I think that's commonplace though, right? I think that is common that people say that they don't watch themselves on camera, on the screen. I have a hard time doing it too. To watch myself when I go back and I play this back and I watch, see how I do, see what questions I ask. We were talking about this with John or Mayo yesterday, about watching ourselves on screen. I watch it to learn from it. I don't really watch it just to sit there and say, yeah. I watch it to see how bad I messed up. It's not like it's like okay, how did I fuck that up? How come I didn't ask that question earlier, or why didn't I ask that question at all? That sort of thing.
So when I first moved to LA, I took an on-camera audition course. And so we had to they gave us scripts and sides, we're auditioning. And because I'd never really auditioned too much on camera, I always did in-person auditions. So on camera, because even if it's in person, they still record you on camera. So you need to know, and I came from theater, so I hadn't really done much film when I moved out here. So, yeah, it was weird. And I hated every second. I dreaded going to that class, even though the teacher, she was fantastic. And all of my, fellow actors were wonderful. And I loved watching them. And I learned from watching them too. But I hated watching myself. I hated it so much. I'm like, oh no, I made this funny face. Oh.
So for you, self-taping is much better.
Generally, yeah. I feel like for most actors it is.
You know what? I mean, there's some actors that they rather have the face-to-face, they shake a hand, they look in the casting director's eye and they say, I want you to hire me. There's a lot of people that do like the face-to-face, but I think a lot of people do like the initially they might have resisted a little bit, but as I've talked to more and more artists, self-taping is now. I don't think they're ever going to go back to.
It absolutely is now. It's kind of, for me, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because, I prefer to be in person with somebody. I feel like I do better in person. I mean, I'm a theater person, so
I was going to say theater, you have to do it in person. Yeah. You can't self-tape that.
No, you can't. So part of it is that, but I also get really terrible nerves, and they've gotten better since I've been in LA. But when I first got here, I got crippling nerves. So I'd go into an audition and just completely botch it, completely. Yeah. And then there were times where I feel like the ones that I didn't care about as much and my nerves didn't show, I always book that. Those are the ones I always book.
Right. When you just have when you have one when you just have nothing to lose, right? You just go up there and let it fly. What are some of the theater places you've done?
Oh, the play. You mean the shows that I've done?
Yeah. What are some of the shows you performed in?
Oh gosh. So the most recently I've done some cabaret shows. But I've done the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I did a mashup of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and that was really fun because I got to play a character from Rocky Horror, but I got to sing a song from Hedwig, which was really cool. I've been in The Music Man. I've been in Bye Bye Birdie. I've been in 42nd Street. I've been in, A Chorus Line. That was my least favorite. It's a dancing show and I'm not really a dancer. So how I got cast in that damn show, I don't never know. But I did. What else? Oh gosh, what are some of the other ones that I did? Oh, Godspell was one of my favorites, I think.
Okay.
It's a really religious one. But it was fun because I did it with a church. It wasn't my church, but they needed really, theater people to kind of sprinkle through, like really legit theater people. So I kind of did it with this church, and I became really close with a lot of these people. And that's what I love about theater is like you're a family. Like on films, not as much.
No.
Like you can be depending on the situation, but on a film, you kind of do your part and then you go. Like the crew is always fairly close, but like the actors and such, they kind of come and go or whatever. But in theater, you're in rehearsals for weeks, sometimes months, and like you all become really close. So, and Godspell was fun because it was fun and it was silly, but then it got really serious, and there was like a scene where I had to just break down and cry, and I remember doing it opening night because I hold everything in. Like I don't practice things over and over. I let the emotion take me over whenever I'm acting. So if I do it too much, then I won't be able to cry. Like if I will bring it like to the surface, but I won't actually cry. So like I have to, because I want it to be fresh. So I didn't do it all through rehearsals, and then opening night I just broke down sobbing, and I wasn't even really supposed to. Like it wasn't called for in the script, but in the moment, it's like the moment before, like we're all friends with the character Jesus, and it's right before he gets crucified, and we're all saying goodbye to him. So we're kind of like the disciples saying goodbye to him before he gets crucified. I'm not religious, I swear. I just have a lot of religious backgrounds, but
it's fine. I think it's cool. I do. I think it's a wonderful.
Yeah, but it was really cool. Like it was a cool experience because I remember because it ended up making the rest of the cast cry, and none of us had actually cried. We were all sad, but like none of us actually cried up to that point, and half of the cast were crying by the end of the scene, and then I had to sing right after.
Oh.
Which was freaking nuts. And after I'm sobbing, crying, I have to pull it together and sing. And on key, I think I was on key. I might have been a little off because I was crying, but who knows? But I didn't realize I was fun story. I didn't realize I wasn't wearing waterproof mascara. So I get backstage and there's like tear streaks. I looked like a sad clown. I was like tear streaks all down my face. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a mess.
Stall it out. Yeah. When you told your mom that you were going to California, did you guys agree to do this? I mean, did you talk to her and say, Mom, I want to go out to California. I want to see what's out there. I want to do, and why California and not New York?
Because California is warmer and I hate the cold weather.
But New York is a theater town.
What?
New York is theater town, though.
Well, New York is theater town, but the thing is, I'm not, as I mentioned before, I'm not really a dancer. So it's harder to get into theater, especially equity theater on Broadway, if you're not a dancer. So a lot at the time, I was in my 20s, early 20s, and I was trying to think of like, wanting to go to Broadway, and a lot of the shows were very dancing based shows. So there weren't a lot of shows for people who weren't dancers. Nowadays there's a lot more rock films rock musicals and hip hop musicals like Hamilton. Like that's not really, I mean, it's still dancey, but it's less dancey for the leads. But but you still, like, every audition I ever went on, there was a singing audition, there was an acting audition, and then there was a dance audition. And I'm not a dancer. And like, they would like me, and then I had to dance. And they're like, ooh, never mind. We have somebody who can actually dance.
Mm. Mm.
So like that was always my weak point. Also, like I said, I did film in Pittsburgh with Toe Tag. If you're familiar with the company Toe Tag, I did my first ever film with them. It was kind of, you were talking about doing things on a dare. It was kind of like that. Not really. It was more like my friend is like, hey, bitch, like, we're going to audition for this horror movie. Let's go. And I was like, what? And so,
okay.
Yeah, I showed up and I auditioned. I didn't actually get a role in that film, but a couple months later, the director called me and he's like, hey, listen, like, we really liked you. We just didn't really you didn't really fit the characters that we needed, but we really liked you. And do you want to be the lead in our next film? And I was like, do I need to audition? And he's like, no, you already did that. Just come in and screen test with my wife, who's going to play your girlfriend. And I was like, okay, cool. So, and that was my first film I ever did. So I got the film bug a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, I'd been doing theater my whole life. So like a new fun challenge. It was good time.
Our friend Monkey here says, Danny, your voice sounds very familiar. What do I know you from? I actually went to an event that you are at. You have a great sense of humor in public. There's raunchy humor in public.
Oh yeah, very raunchy humor. I don't know where you know me from. Where? I don't know.
He also wanted to know. Hi Judy, I see you up there. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. He also wants to know if we watched Independence Day on July 4th, which we didn't. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out what I watched on July 4th.
I don't know if I watched anything on July 4th.
I don't know. It used to. It's funny that it used to be. I did used to watch Independence Day on the 4th. It was like, hell yeah, because missed a chance to see aliens and Bill Paxton out there rallying the troops and Vivica A. Fox. I mean, hell yeah, count me in. But I have not seen Independence Day in a minute. Let's see.
When the last time I watched it was, I'm also trying to think where he would hear me. I occasionally am at Mad Monster, which is a convention.
Yeah, conventions.
It might have been that. I was the VIP coordinator for a couple of them. But
have you ever done Dark Delicacies?
What?
Have you ever done Dark Delicacy, the bookstore?
Yeah, I've been there. I don't think I've ever done a signing there, but I've been there for signings.
Okay.
In my voice, I have a very loud voice. If you haven't noticed, I'm very loud. And when I'm in a room, I have a tendency to be.
We are a redhead. Redheads are always like that.
Well, and I'm a theater kid, so I was taught to project. So.
And a redhead. I mean, that's just that's 1 + 1 = 2. Hi TJ, how are you? I want to say hi, folks are in here. Hi Andre, thank you for coming back. Mr. Bones in the house. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So when you told your mom that you wanted to go to LA, was it a one of acceptance, like she was encouraging you, or was she a little scared for you? Did you guys discuss like a time frame of how long you would be out there before you would?
So right after I did my first film, I decided I like this. I'm gonna go to LA. I'd always known I needed to get out of my small town. I was kind of the weird kid. So I was like, I mean, I love the people. The people were, salt of the earth. But I mean, the values were a little. Everybody kept asking me why I don't have kids, why I'm not married, and I'm like, do I have to be a human? I don't, So I decided that I was going to leave really early. But right after I did my first film with Toe Tag, I was like, fuck it, I'm moving to LA. And I had a friend out here already that had just moved out here from back home. And he was like, come live with me. We'll get a room. That's great. We'll have fun. And I was like, all right, cool. So I decided that I was going to move in 2009, right after I did Maskhead. And then right after, and I told my dad, and my dad was pissed. My dad was like, you could act in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, yeah, but it's cold here. I don't want to do it. And so, because I wanted to
Were
go
you
to
surprised by that, by his reaction?
what?
Were you surprised by his reaction?
No, no, no. My dad didn't want me to leave. Like I was daddy's little girl. Like
Okay.
I was born on my dad's birthday, and I was named after him. And I
Okay.
acted like him. And my dad always said he wanted a little boy that looked and acted just like him, like Spanky from the Little Rascals, and that's what my dad wanted. And then he ended up getting me, which essentially was all those things. Only I had boobs. So you know. Oh, but my dad was really upset, and he was bummed about it. And I said, well, I'm gonna. It was, I think July I did Masthead, and around July August I said I'm gonna move to LA. And I said I'll move to LA in November. I think I planned for October, November, and my dad actually passed away in September. So
Oh,
September of that year. So right after I decided to move to LA, when my dad was pissed, he ended up passing away. So my mom was just beside herself, obviously. So I was like, well, I'm going to put it off for a little while because, you know, because my brother didn't handle it well, and neither did my mother. And my mother had just lost her mom. My grandmother passed, and then my dad passed. And then my mom, like right after that, my mom's dad passed. So she lost both parents and a husband in 3 months.
yeah,
So
that would be putting someone at the edge of sanity.
so it was really bad. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be the good daughter. And my brother, bless him, he's a wonderful human. He's my younger brother, and I'm the oldest. And I was always kind of the rock. My dad was always the rock, but now somebody has to be the rock, and I guess it's going to be me. So I kind of stepped up and stayed for a while. So I actually went to school for massage therapy. So I was a professional massage therapist for a while. My life was real different back home, but after a couple of years, I decided, I was singing in a rock band, and, and I was like, you know what? I waited 2 years, and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go. I'm going to go to LA. Nothing can stop me. Like, my brother was, he was better. My mom was getting better. And I was singing in a rock band, and my mom would get up and sing songs with my band. So I asked my band, I was like, hey, when I leave, can my mom just take over for me as the singer? Because my mom was a singer. And my mom never had a chance to sing in a rock band because she had children really young. Me, hello. Sorry, Mom. But so she never got a chance to sing in a rock band. Grow up, like when she was in her 20s. She's like, yeah, I'm singing in this rock band. It's cool. The guys were closer to her age anyway. So I decided to move here in, was it February? I was going to move here in February, and in January she passed away. So my mom passed away suddenly as well. So I had to kind of get all that stuff straightened out. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm still going. I told my brother, I said, Dustin, I love you, but I got to go. And so and then I ended up moving here.
Your parents passed away young.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My mom was 53. My dad was 54. And they died like a little over 2 years apart. So like I deal with all of that stuff. But it's what you do. Like most people have to lose their parents at some point. I just did it earlier than most. So I did it in my 20s. So, but I was still an adult. It's not like I'm an orphan. I mean, like, me and some of my friends who don't have our parents anymore, we call ourselves adult orphans.
Yeah.
But my brother's still back home. He's, I keep trying to get him to come out here, and it's so much fun.
How is it? I guess since you landed, so you officially landed in LA for good. What, 2011?
It was 2012.
2012.
July. And right before, I ended up going to the Download Festival in London, in like Donington, England. So like I was just like, boom, I just shot off, and I was like, all right, we're doing this. Life is short. We're doing it. So I just kind of took off and did what I do. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm very friendly and very like love people.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm naturally like that. But I think I like to do so much fun things because like, hey, life is short. We never know what's going to happen. So I'm going to take life by the balls and just shake them.
That's right. That's right. See, that's probably what happened. You just zipped out there full of vim and vinegar, and that's probably that's where the term came up with. How long? Just quickly off the path for a minute. How long did it take for you to be called that? Everybody's favorite ginger.
When I started doing shows with like Jess's shows, when I started doing Scream Queen Stream, Jess is like everybody's favorite ginger, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Did people come up on the street to you and say that to you?
no.
Really?
Yeah, they don't. It's funny. But
Wow.
Jess does all the time. She still does to this day.
Sure.
Um, you know, she's everybody's favorite ginger. But yeah, some people at different things will come up to me and be like, "You're that ginger girl," and I'm like, "Yep, I am."
See? See? See, Andre saying, sorry about your parents. Condolences. Good on you for being strong. Let's see. TJ mentioned I loved your queen. I love the queen wave there. Awesome, awesome. Monkey wants to know what your dream project is at. What it would be. Yeah, I can ask that now. So if you had a chance to do, well, let me ask this question because this might help us out a little bit. So being a theater, doing theater as you do, um, what is more enticing to you? What challenges you? Makes you more excited? A chance to do a revival of a big play like Phantom of the Opera or 42nd Street, or a chance to be cast in a new original play that's never been done before, and why?
Oh wow. Well, I think it would depend on the play. I've gotten a chance to do a lot of my favorite shows.
Hmm.
I've gotten to do Cabaret. I've got to do Chicago. I've got to do um,
What
Rent.
part? What part did you play in Chicago?
Chicago, I was Roxy Hart.
Wow, wow, not Velma, huh?
Yeah, I had to wear a blonde wig.
Wow, I would have. Wow, okay, I can see you totally Catherine Zeta-Jones, like.
Well, that's the thing. I actually came into a cast that was already formed.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
it had been doing because I had auditioned for them, so they were already a cast, and then they did second rounds of auditions because they didn't think the original cast was gonna come back. So I auditioned the second time, and then the whole original cast came back. So which was really interesting because I never got a call because the whole OG cast came back. So um, after a while, I got a call, and they're like, "Hey, will you be the understudy for Roxy Hart?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure," because like these people had all done a whole run of the show, and people were starting after a while to like have other things happen, and they got cast in other things that they wanted to do. So yeah, so I got bumped up, and they were like, "Hey, come do Roxy." So I ended up having to learn the girl who was Roxy. She had a family emergency and she had to go home, and I had to learn the whole part of Roxy in 8 days. So
Wow.
that was
That's so. Yeah, I would have. If I would have cast in Chicago, I would have had you playing Velma Kelly.
well. This was a long time ago too. This is about 8 years ago.
So, well, so you've done some of those. So, what would it be now? I mean, now that you've done some of those plays,
So
would you like to take a chance and do something fresh and
I,
original?
I probably want to do something original because a lot of times if some like when when a show is like brand new to like off Broadway or Broadway, a lot of times it gets workshopped. And that's why they can never find anybody who can do a character like it's really hard to recreate that because sometimes like so if I would get cast in an original musical, a lot of times they workshop it. So for instance, Rent. Jonathan Larson, who wrote Rent before it came out on off Broadway, because it was released off Broadway first, he workshopped that show. He found like he had auditions and workshops to find these right actors to play every single role. So years later, when they did the film, they had such a hard time.
Yeah, they kept almost the whole cast.
They just brought back the whole original Broadway cast because they were like, nobody can give us what they gave us. Because when you workshop, you just have a chance to make it your own. and you're not trying to recreate something that somebody's already done, which is fine. I love doing that. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's a lot. It's harder and not, there's different ways to think about it. Cause like I played Janis Joplin and in a show for about 3 or 4 months. And that was probably the most difficult role I ever undertook, just because she was,
her voice was so,
well, not just her voice. I mean, her voice was, I still to this day can feel her in there.
yeah.
You know, just like Austin Butler and Elvis. I don't know if you've seen it. He's still speaking like Elvis. He's still speaking with a Southern drawl, even though he's from California. I think he's from California.
So he just got into it so strong that it's hard.
That role just got in him, and it's really hard, especially when it was somebody who was already alive, with somebody who's real, and you want to do that person justice. So like, especially who's passed on. But like, if it's been a real person, you really want to just get in there and just make them proud. And you don't want to fuck it up. You don't want to fuck it up, right? Who wants to fuck up? Nobody wants to fuck up Janis Joplin. So, you know, I have funny enough, I refused to sing Janis with my band back home because I was like, oh, I'm not touching Janis. No, I can't sing Janis. And then I got cast in the show as Janis.
How do you protect your voice? I mean, I take it you take good care of your voice.
Lately I haven't been. I used to, before COVID, I was taking vocal lessons, which helps. So the best thing for your voice is vocal rest.
Oh, yeah, my gosh. You need more rest days.
It's the hardest thing for me to do because I can't shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah, I mean, could you just not, I mean, I guess that's the one thing you do, what, you drink tea and honey though? Do you do that every day?
Not every day, because that's a lot of honey. But I do, especially if I'm in a show, I do every day. There's an herbal spray called the Singer's Saving Grace that I use when I'm doing a show and I'm like singing. It tastes like crap, but it's really good for you. Just spray the back of your throat, and it's so good. It's like miracle cure. But vocal rest is the thing that I need to do the most. And I was actually doing it really well when I lived by myself. and then my best friend moved in, and I love living with my best friend, don't get me wrong, but I can't shut up because there's somebody else in the house that I can talk to. So then I'm like, and then I don't shut up. I'm like,
sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, because I mean, that's one thing too. Right off the bat, you could definitely tell right off the bat. Anybody who watched the stream right off the bat knew one thing. The first thing about it was, yes, she's everybody's favorite ginger, and 2, you are a social butterfly.
Yeah.
I knew that 30 seconds in. I knew you, Dani, before I talked to you. I knew you because I've seen you before. I've seen you, the type of personality. And I it's a personality that I really adore and I respect too, because I mean that because, like I said, it's a real gift, when someone depends on you to basically, hey, my ass is in the sling here, I could use a little help in my business, let me reach out and call somebody and help me out, and for the price of what, of a couple of tickets and a couple of drinks, that night is saved, or any sort of event, like we're going to do a taste, we're going to do a beer tasting event, we're going to do, or we're going to do we're going to do live music in the park or whatever. We just need a crowd. What can you do for us? And then you roll out there and you bring your friends, and it's a valuable service. I don't know if the chat will get that, but you and I do. It's a service. It's a skill. It's not everybody can do it. If everybody could do it, they would be doing it.
Well,
a chance to go out there and have fun and not do that. No, it takes more than that.
It's a certain personalities too. Like
mm-hmm.
Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, some people are introverted extroverts, and blah, blah, blah. But I was just the other day I was talking to one of my friends, and he's very social, and he can be. He's an actor as well, but he needs his time to himself.
Yes.
Because he recharges when he's alone. I recharge when I'm around people. Now, don't get me wrong, when I go home from a party or an event or something, I fall asleep so fast. My friends all hate me because I just, boom, immediately fall asleep.
They don't understand what it takes out of you. It's like, it's just, let's put it this way. What you're doing is really no different from any acting role, in a sense. You still got to get up, you got to get dressed, you got to know you got to know where you're going, who you're going with, what's entailed about it. I mean, you got to know a little bit about where you're going. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as easy as just, it's not just showing up and just like partying. It's like, no, you don't understand. She's the party starter, but she's
Yeah.
not the party.
Yeah.
She's not the party. She's just there to help, to raise it to a nice, respectable level.
Yeah. Well, I went to a party a couple of weeks ago. It was a friend of mine's birthday party. And I walked in, and it was like 3 different people were like, oh, now the party can start now. Because I was
Yeah.
late. I'm always late. I'm never on time for anything. Sometimes work.
Um.
But on
Well,
set, I'm always on time. But yeah, that's the only thing I've ever, especially like parties, I'm always a little bit late. I'm never the first to show up, ever.
uh, so tell us about your first role that first thing you booked here when you got to LA. And I guess the other question would be is, how did you meet Heather and Jessica? Was that when you got to LA? Did you meet them and become friends with them, or was that a little later?
So many questions. I can't keep track. Um, we've had so many questions. Um, God, I don't remember the first thing I booked was a commercial out here. The first thing I booked, and it was just like a local commercial. It was like for some like apartment complex or something. It wasn't even like anything that really aired. And I remember so I had to walk these 2 dogs. They were Frenchies. They were French bulldogs, and they had us walking up to the Hollywood sign, and we had to do that take over and over. And I remember I didn't even have any lines or anything. Well, I didn't have any sides for the audition. I just came in and they asked me a couple questions, and they liked my look, and they were like, "You're fun. We like you. You have energy." And then I ended up getting cast in the film or in the commercial. So I and then I show up to set, and there are these 2 French bulldogs. Their little ears. They're so cute. I'm a dog person, obviously. And I had to walk them, but I kept having to walk them up the hill. And it was like up and around. And I remember after about 3 takes of this, the dogs were like, we're done here. They were fat little French bulldogs walking up a very steep hill. And I'm just like, with my dogs, I'm like, yeah. And they were like this. And then the second take, they were like this. And then they were like, all right. And then after the 3rd take, they were like, yeah, we're done. I hope you got your shot. Those dogs were fucking done.
Was that during the summer?
Uh, it was in the fall. It was in the
Okay.
fall because I got here in July. And that was in the fall because I remember it not being super hot, but it was still pretty warm. So it was like fall time. But yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if they have any questions here.
I don't remember half the shit that I do. I literally put it out of my brain. Like,
You
I
don't
kind
keep do you ever keep a journal about what you do?
no, I should.
You should. You should.
Definitely should.
Yeah.
Because I just, well, because like I'm so used to auditioning, and when you audition, you don't book everything. There's so many
Right.
things to book, for different reasons. It doesn't mean you're a bad actor. It just means you weren't right for the part, or maybe you were too short in the lead they cast, or you don't have a name, or this or that. I've lost out on several roles. Like it came down to me and one other person, and they had more Instagram followers, so they got the role.
Yeah, that really reeks, doesn't it? I hate that too.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
uh,
this
I don't. Yeah.
first, Jess and Heather, I don't. To be honest, Jess and I kind of don't agree on this because I don't really remember where we technically met. I'm pretty sure we met at a convention, but I don't think she remembers meeting me at this convention. She thought she met me at another convention, and it was just weird. And like we just met, and we were like, oh, okay, whatever. And then, to be honest, I don't even remember how we became such good friends. We just like kept running into each other, and we didn't really. So for a couple of years, I knew her, but she was my friend, but like we weren't as close. And then we just started getting closer. Like the more time we spent with each other, we would realize, oh, this person's a really good person. Do you know what I mean? And then I met Heather through Jess because, you know, Jess is like, this is my bestie Heather. So I was like, hi. And it was just from there. And it's funny because Jess is like, I'm over here crazy. And then Heather is so like smart and analytical, like, and very like, she works on computers. So like, she's super smart that way. And like, she's more introverted. And me, I'm just like, wee over here. And Jess is a little bit of both because Jess is very like, she has a certain kind of brain she's so smart. But she's also very wee like me. So like,
yeah.
So I appealed to this side of Jess, and then Heather appealed to this side of Jess. And I think that's why they got into the more prank wars, because they're real, like, they just, like, you know, not that I'm not smart, but they're just this certain kind of smart that, like, I wish I was. I'd actually talk to Heather about it, and Heather's like, yeah, but, like, I wish I could talk to people like you. And I'm like, well, I wish I was smart like you. So, like, we all
but your friendship complements each other, you know? Like it's like you know, if you needed help with a computer problem, she could help you. But if you guys went out together on the town, you know, to go out to a theater or whatnot, you know, a restaurant or whatnot, she could, you know, you could show her how it's done. You can go in there and say, you know, hi, how are you? You know, like when people, she can see how people react to you, and maitre d see you or what have you, and say, hey, you know, how are you? You know, glad you're back. And you know, it's like I said, it's a skill. It is a skill.
Well, Jess's favorite thing to do when we go out to an event or anything, if she wants to get into a section that we can't get into, or this like whatever, or this or that, she's like, send Dani, and Dani can do it. And yeah.
Oh yeah, you must know everybody.
Well,
What's your how many just for fun, without you looking, how many phone numbers do you think you have? How big is your network? How big is your network, do you think?
not that big. I'm not really super on social media like Jess is. Like on Instagram, I think I have like maybe 3,000.
I'm talking about on your phone. I mean, how many? If I said, hey Jess, hey Dani, I need a couple of tickets down to the whiskey. Can you help me out? Could you pick up the phone and just call the club and sit there and say, yeah, let me talk to Joe?
Well, I just talked to the owner.
See, not everybody can do that at all, especially down in LA.
It was funny because I went out with a friend one time, and we went to dinner, and he's like, oh, I have a +1 to the Viper Room's anniversary party. And I was like, oh, cool. So like we walked in, and he's like, oh, I'm on the list. And they're like, oh, Dani, what's up? And they were hugging me, and they're like, go ahead in. And he's like, well, I'm on the list. And she's like, okay, you're with Dani, it's fine. And he's like, you don't need to know my name. And he's like, no, you're with Dani, go.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly how it works. That's exactly how it works. Hey, Fanatic, how are you, sir? Glad you're here. Yeah. So you know, you are you still acting now? Because I did watch a movie that you were in. I'll mention it, but I'll leave it up to you if you want to talk about it. So I saw that you were in a movie called Hornet.
Oh God. Oh, I was in it, but I wasn't really in it. It was just a small thing. It was literally like a friend of mine called me, and he's like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, fuck it, sure. And I ended up having to do stunts, and I've never done stunts. And I ended up getting injured on the set.
Now what did you
athletic.
You are athletic?
I'm not athletic at all. Like
oh.
I let them know, like, hey, so if you want stunts, like, I'm not really an athletic human. I'm what I like to call athletically challenged. So I was never good in sports. not even dancing, like, even dancing I wasn't very good at. I'm just not coordinated. So like I was always very performy, but never really athletic. So they're like, oh no, don't worry about it. We have a stunt coordinator. It's fine. On set. And I just totally got hurt. And everybody came rushing. So like I had to like I was supposed to get a hit in the stomach. And the guy is supposed to like hold it right before he got, and then I buckle and I fall. And so he actually hit me. He didn't even hold back. He just boom. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the end of the thing kept going. I don't know what happened, but he hit me, and it was not soft. Right in the gut. Right in the gut. And I just completely knocked the wind out of me. But as a professional actor, I still did what I had to do. Luckily, it was buckle and fall on the ground. And I stayed in character the whole time. And then I hear cut. Like the stunt coordinator yelled cut because he saw that I got hurt. And they all came running around and they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And they're like picking me up. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I got this. I'll walk it off. It's fine.
My God.
Yeah, but fine.
Take two of these and call me tomorrow.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, it literally, I'm not even like in it. Like it was just, technically it was like a favor to a friend. Like they called me and they're like, do you want to do this?
Yeah, because I actually watched it and watching the credits, and I saw your name there and go, oh, I'll be damned. There's going Dani Inks. I'm going like, okay, let me go back there and see what part she was in. I was looking going back, and I was like, for one thing, I was like, okay, so she did this movie for the asylum, and I wanted to know how your experience was on set for that. Was it a fun set?
It was hot.
Yeah, it looked hot.
Shooting that in like a ridiculous amount of time, like 4 or 5 days or some shit. Like it was insane. It was like go. It was the Condolicks. John and James Condolik, they called me up and they're like, hey, you want to do this? And it's funny because so we were just kind of like featured extras. It wasn't like a big deal. So, but all of us, like all of like the featured extras were like filmmakers, actors who've been doing this for like 20 something years, like professionals. And the 3 kids who had the lead, we like had like no credits, but they were young.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how Asylum casts though.
Yeah. They like, oh, you're pretty. Here we go.
Yeah.
Not that they were very talented. But it was really funny because we're all just like sitting around doing nothing. We're like, we're not used to not doing anything on set like this. Like, I mean, it's always hurry up and wait, but like on sets. But yeah, it was really interesting. But I got to hang out with some filmmakers and all day. But it was hot and it was in the desert. Where did we shoot? I can't remember where we shot. It was so
hilly. It was hilly. But at least it wasn't Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I've interviewed some people who did. I interviewed one actress who you might actually know her. Actually, do you know who Devaney Penn is?
Yeah, I know Devaney.
Okay, she was on last night.
Oh, nice, cool. Hi,
Devaney. We were talking about her. She saw the scene in Death Valley, and Death Valley is just like you can always tell about one thing about Death Valley when you watch film in Death Valley. If you really pay attention to it, because I remember watching this and I remember talking to I was actually talking to Victoria Pratt, and she did a movie called Death Valley, and her and I were talking about it. And I said, yeah, so how early in the morning were you up shooting? It was supposed to be middle of the day, toward the evening. But I'm going like, how early in the morning? And she goes, oh, you caught that? I says, oh, yeah. I mean, I think anybody would, because who the hell is going to be out in the middle of the day doing this, right?
Mm-hmm. I did a film. I had a cameo in this film. Another friend of mine called me and she's like, hey, and it was in Palm Springs in the end of August, I want to say. It was either the middle or the end of August, which is one of the hottest times in LA is August, September. And me and my girlfriend, one of my good friends, she's always wanted to do a horror film. And I said, okay, I'll do this cameo if the other girl in the scene could be my friend. So for her birthday, I got her cast in a horror film. It was great. So we have this small little part in this film, and and she did such a great job. I'm like, you're not an actress, but look at you go. But I remember getting on set, and one of us had to be killed, and I didn't know which one it was going to be. When I got to set,
You can't kill the redhead.
they killed me. Yeah, they
What?
killed me. And I'm covered.
That's it. Me and the cheater are on our way.
I'm covered in fake blood
Uh-huh.
in the desert in 100-degree weather. And there was just ants everywhere. I was like, I stuck it out, but I was like, this is fucking miserable. Like, it was so miserable. Luckily it was only one day. It was one day. It was a cameo.
Right.
So.
That's what happened with Devaney. She did her scene. She did it one day too. And with her, they had her all that, but they had one extra bonus for her. They had a couple of squibs, and they wrapped her head in saran wrap, Dani.
Oh God! Oh yeah, no, I won't do that. I won't take roles like that.
I saw that. I'm like, when I saw that scene, I'm going like, this is before I really knew who, before I got to meet her. But I'm sitting there watching that scene. The only thing that went to my mind was, that's insane. Who would, you gotta have balls of steel to do something like that.
Some of I've worked with a lot of effects in the past. Like, my ex was an effects artist, and I was with him for years and over a decade. But I worked on so many films, and I know all of that effects stuff. And I've worked with so many effects over the years, and it's crazy. And there's certain things that like some filmmakers will call Jeremy and be like, hey, do you think Dani would do this? And he'll read the script and be like, she's not going to do that. No, she's not going to do that. He's actually working on a film now, and he wants me to do it, but he's like, you're not going to want to do this. And I'm like, nope, not doing that. Because
someone who's knows better says no, I'm going to listen to that too. You don't have the skill set for that, because you gotta have a skill set for doing that too, to do stunts and be putting yourself in that situation. It isn't just like walking on the set and saying, okay, let's do it. It's like, no, you have to be prepared for it mentally, physically. You have to have some experience.
That's where they didn't tell me anything, and then I'd show up and they're like, oh, we're doing this today. But I always try to roll with it. I never try to, complain too awfully much. I'm not really I'm diva in the theater, but I'm not really a diva on set, or at least I try not to be. Maybe some directors might think differently of me. I don't know.
No. I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they all. I'm pretty sure you're universally adored in Los Angeles. But let me. I won't keep you too much longer, but I want to talk a little bit about this real quick. And I can already tell you right now, we're gonna have to do this again soon. But no, I'd love it. No, I could talk to you all day. Let's talk a little bit about LA after, a little bit before and after the pandemic. I mean, you got there in 2012. The cost of living in LA has just gone through the roof. How do working actors or personalities, or either singers, whatever, how do you guys cope with that? Because the starving artist persona. I mean, do you think people have actually left Los Angeles and give it up on their dreams?
A lot of people have. Like, I know a lot who, or at least went away during the pandemic and came back. I am fortunate enough to have a fun side gig that keeps me knowing a lot of people, and so I actually have like a regular steady job. So like whenever you need money, you have that. So I get to bartend at a really cool rock and roll club, which is really nice in LA, and it's fun. I get behind the bar and act like an idiot. I was working last night. I'm exhausted, but I'm like, oh God, I gotta stay up till 2. Okay, I got this. Gonna do it. But yeah, like, it's really fun, and that's how one of the ways I get to know everybody. Like in the music scene, working at that bar. But it's just really interesting because people are starting to get back to work now. Like, I didn't work. I hadn't done a film. Because right before the pandemic, I decided I was going to focus a lot more on theater, because I was doing these fun cabaret shows. So these cabaret shows were just kind of like, they weren't like full on theater shows, but they were, you know, a little loosey goosey. Like there would be a theme. So the last theme that we did before the pandemic, it got cut off because of the pandemic. We were one of the only shows that was open in LA on the Friday before everything closed down. All of my friends, like we had a packed house because all of my friends who were going to other shows were like, oh my God, that show got canceled. Is your show still happening? And I'm like, come on in. And we had a full packed house, and it was a horror themed cabaret. Funny enough. And I did a duet with my friend Liam, who is a brilliant actor and a singer, and he's just amazing. And we did a Freddy Krueger number where I was like in a little nightgown and he was dressed as Freddy. And we did Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson. And I added some, did it as a duet, and that was really cool. And he chased me around the theater, and it was very interactive. And I was like, and it was great. And then he slashes me and kills me at the end. And then I come back in the second act as a zombie because I just died, and I sing "Zombie" by the Cranberries, which was really cool. But I had a platter with a Jello brain on it, and so as I was singing, I was eating this brain, which is really fun, and I was feeding it to everybody. No, not as much like the night before COVID, but
right.
But it was a good time. So I was focusing a lot on that, and then everything happened. And then I did another show last fall. So the theater company that I was working with, they actually moved to Texas during COVID, unfortunately. One of the many losses of COVID. So my friend Liam and I, we produced our own show, and it was a Halloween themed cabaret brunch. And we're actually thinking of doing another one this year. So we're in talks. I actually have a meeting with him later tonight to see if we're going to do another one, which will be really fun. But we didn't completely sell out, but it was real close. And people
the first year. But, I mean, the second year will be more popular.
Yeah, maybe. So, but I got to do a film. I want to plug it a little bit. It was called The Final Experiment. It was written and directed by Thomas Haley, who is so talented. I was on set with him and in awe of him because he directed it and he was the lead actor in it. And he had like mountains of dialogue and he was like directing it. So he was just doing everything. And I couldn't believe he was able to do all of that because he was just he had a place for everything and he knew everything and he was so organized. But then as soon as like the camera rolled, he knew all of his lines. He didn't, and he would get right into character. And I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing to me how you could do something like that. But
yeah,
I could never direct and act, or at least not the same thing that I'm doing. I couldn't do it. I could maybe direct. I don't really have a need to or want to do so. If I had to, I probably could, maybe.
I definitely think for sure for a theater production, you can knock that out.
Yeah. Well, I produced my last one, so I did kind of direct it too. So theater, yeah, but film, I don't think I could. But yeah, so it was called The Final Experiment, and it's like a social commentary piece, and it's really cool. And that was my comeback to the screen. And so it's a really good time. We shot it in a few days, and right.
Has it been released yet, or is it still in post?
No, it's in post right now. Hopefully to be released at some point. I don't know if he's going to go to festivals with it. I'm not sure exactly. You never know. Like,
yeah.
In the words of Johnny Depp, what happens with the film after I'm done doing my part is none of my business. So
yeah. Once you leave it, you leave it.
Yeah.
You know what? I won't keep it because you got to get ready for a meeting. So I want to definitely say that I will watch you back. I mean, before the year. Before the year that.
Up with more questions. Was that 8 questions? I wasn't keeping track.
I think I got 7, but no, I can tell you already right now. You and I will be doing this again real soon. It's everything I expected it to be and more.
Oh, we'll say bye-bye to Bowie. Say bye-bye, Bowie.
Oh, Bowie. I got Yeah, I don't know where the cheetah's at, but he's around. You go back to some of the older if you go back to some of the older videos, you'll see me and actually you can go but today. I had the cheetah up there with me today. He comes up and steals scenes from me.
Oh my god. Isn't that fun? Well, they always say never work with kids or animals because they will always steal the scene.
They always will, and he does it all the time. I want to thank you for coming out and hanging out with us, Danny. I so appreciate it. I really do. I've been wanting to do this with you for a very long time, and so now I got the. I just was waiting for the right moment to approach you and sit there and say, "Hey, come talk to us." I really enjoyed talking to you. Really enjoyed meeting you. You're exactly everything I was hoping you would be and more, and so much fun. So much fun.
I always have fun wherever I go.
What I'll do is after we're done here, I'll talk to you after the show, and or I'll talk to you on Instagram, and then we'll get the information to where we can get that. What I'll do is I'll get his address for the young man. I'll get his address and I'll send it to you, and then you can go ahead and send it. You can send him an autograph. That's cool. I like that, and I'll ask him to send us a picture of it too. So that'll be a first for the show. Does anybody else want an autograph from Danny? Just leave a comment down below, and that'll be awesome. So we'll stay in touch, and the closer you get to your Halloween event, if that happens, which I'm sure it will, we'll come back and talk to you about that.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Okay. All right. Stay right where you're at. I'm going to say goodbye to our chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. And we will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. tomorrow night. We will be talking to Haley, a.k.a. Gory B from Gory B Movie. And we'll be talking to her tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Everybody else, thanks for coming out. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace. Stay right where you're at, Danny.
Bye.